Good morning and welcome to day 5, I believe, of the FIPP 2020 World Congress. This morning we have a fantastic session for the need for speed, how we deliver stories at an unrivaled pace. Just before we go to our presenters, and I'll talk a little bit about them, just some housekeeping rules. Please do look, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you have the Q&A and you have the chat box. It's a really interactive event, so we'd like you to ask as many questions as possible, anything you like, and we can feedback through that. Also as well, at the end of the session, please do fill in the survey. The meetings hub is a crucial part of this event, so please go onto that as well and check that your details are listed correctly and edit accordingly, and you can meet anyone else who has signed up as a delegate to this event. And there's a real opportunity for that whole networking, and that goes on 24/7. That doesn't matter whether we're on air or not. That system's open the entire time. So today, going back to the session, how we deliver stories of an unrivaled pace. And we have with us today, who's on stage? So we have Alexander Babbing, was already what's called a digital native before the term even existed, working on all relevant fields from digital publishing, podcasting, e-commerce, data warehousing. Since 2019, he's dedicated himself to his heart's desire at a digital agency, unitb. What makes him happy? I love that question. What makes him happy? Companies and organizations that don't wait forever and just simply do something. Don't we all like that? And then we have Marcus Dauck. Short bio for Marcus. Marcus holds the position of Head of Publishing Technologies and Services at Ringier. So since 2010, he was Chief Information Officer at Ringier Axel Springer Media AG, responsible for the CEE activities, and a board member of DreamLab, the technological company of OneNet. Marcus has developed a profound media, innovative, IT, organizational, and intercultural background over the last 25 years. He started his career at Axel Springer in Hamburg, and then with stops in Dubai and Cyprus, he rejoined Axel Springer. Marcus is chairman of the Swiss Digital Economy Award, member of the board of the Swiss IT Leadership Forum, as well as a member of the Swiss Advisory Board of AI Hub. So what can we learn today? We'll jump into the development done over the last few years to push the speed of publishing in different new channels. What went well, what didn't, how to approach similar challenges. It won't be too technical, but we're going to go through everything from start to finish. So I would now like to hand over to Marcus.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, so I would really like to start off and give you a little bit background on what is Ringier and get you in the mood on understanding of what the setup is. So I'll just share my screen and should be okay. So Ringier is 2 centuries, or almost 2 centuries in media. So 185 years old, family-owned company based in Switzerland, but with early on with a long history of going abroad, going internationally. We have around about 7,000 employees. We are in 19 countries. And yeah, you see from the numbers, we have more or less a EBITDA of 114 million and gross revenue of 1 billion. So what's interesting about us is that the family and each generation pushed for change and pushed to rapidly adjust to the new environments. So on the left side, this is the founding building. It's still there. There's still offices in, but now we are all over the world. We are in Africa, we are in Asia, and we are also fully digital. When you look at what is publishing in Switzerland, because this session is about how we went to deliver a lot of things, could speed up things. So we are looking at publishing in Switzerland, and there was also big transition from a pure publishing house to a diversified media platform. And You can actually see this from just a pure printing to now what is our Blick environment, which is, I'll talk a little bit later about, all our publications, which are print and online, as well as radio or ticketing or something like this. So especially speed is important here because the market's changing rapidly. You all know what happened over the last, I would say, 10 years, and to stay atop, you definitely need to change quickly. So, turn over to Alexander.
Yes, thanks for your intro, Marcus. I think the history of Ringier is pretty impressive. I mean, nearly 2 centuries. This is, yeah, you have to be online as long as this. We at unitb, as a partner of Ringier in this project we're going to talk about, we are, if you want, so live since 2002. This is when we started to share our digital passion. And what we do is that we build big digital projects, we implement them. So from consulting over implementing to having them online, keeping them online. And what's really thrilling us is if the complex is not, as a project is not too easy to handle. We're specialized in huge amounts of data, millions of page impressions, and make sure that those is delivered in the best possible speed. So kind of speed addicts, if you want. So, and especially in the field of publishing, we focus pretty much on monetizing the content, so that the valuable content is really used to earn some money. I think this is quite interesting for many publishers. We also help to speed up in developing digital products. So we have special agile teams we bring on, and this is what we've done with Ringier. So we will learn more about this in a few seconds. And also what we really like is to enable the editorial teams to use the new possibilities. So I think it's not enough just simply to build and have things developed, but you also have your editorial staff to use it and to like it. And so it's kind of a change process we're also happy to be part in. And so I would hand back to you, Marcus, for introducing the specific project.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So let's dive into our voyage, which started, I would say, nearly 5 years ago, where we thought about, okay, how can we gain speed, because we are working in a very monolithic way, and you had systems in place and processes in place which were not connected. And we started with a digital asset management in the middle, and thought, okay, let's have a single content hub, for the newsroom. And first of all, we started with the Blick newsroom, and we extended this. I'll come to this a little bit later. And also on the functionality side, we extended this. First of all, we only started with an asset management. Then we added the core component, a story workflow. So every story, every content is created in this hub. And we get agency content, we get video content and use videos, and this was also added over time. But one of the main things is that we said, okay, we just want to have one place where we keep all the content, which is easy to connect to the ever-changing environment around us. So on one hand, yes, the print production, and whoever is familiar with this, it's clear that the technology change is not as fast anymore there, because things are done the same way over the last, I would say, 20 years. But on the other side, in the digital production environment, there we have constant change, and we have constant new products we have to add. And so we definitely said, okay, let's have this content and create it and update it regardless of the form we want to produce it. If it's the same content is used or similar content is used for print, for web, for mobile, for social, we are pushing, and this is like the central environment we build up to gain more speed later on in connecting the different instances.
Maybe just a short question, Marcus, because I think the idea of this central content hub is pretty cool, but was it really planned to exist in this way, or was it more or less a process where you would say, okay, we add pieces and there he is, the central content hub. So how could you imagine this process as an...
Honestly speaking, yes, in a certain way it was. And now it looks, if you put it on a slide and say, hey, great, and this was the visionary idea of 5 years ago or something like this. No, a little bit it happened that way because we had to change like our digital asset management, and we had to be more modern there. And then with the discussion and with the editorial teams and with the digital web teams, we came to the point that said, okay, that might be a good idea, yeah, to just put this in the middle and then develop from that point on more interfaces, and got these interfaces which were fixed at the beginning, yeah, got them very flexible now with APIs, with a lot of opportunities to use. But at the beginning, I would say it was not really the plan to just go have a 5 years down the road and say, hey, this is exactly what we wanted to build. But it really happened, and it happened because there was a lot of involvement of the editorial team. Yeah, because it's not like a technical project and you say, okay, we'll just put in a new software, a new server, and that's it. It is all about how to produce fast, how to be at the edge, because our publications, yeah, if you have the first push notification out, you all know this, yeah, you click on that, yeah, and everyone else who is just 30 seconds late, yeah, you might not click on that. So all this came in as an input from the editorial team, which was very good, because then we not only focused on like the technical environment and to set up just the new software.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry. Yep. Okay. So what we did over time, we added publications and channels. So first we just started very small with one newsroom, and step by step we added different modules. So for example, we saw that, okay, since we are producing fast, we need some tools to do some grammar checking and spell checking, and also we needed something which has the legal cases. So if you write about certain people, you should not write about kids, or you should not publish pictures or something like this. And since we knew that all this information was around, we just added this also in this whole cluster and environment, but not as a kind of a monolithic big thing, but we just added different components, and one newsroom is using it, other publication or another newsroom might not use it. So it's very flexible, and over time we could add many websites. So now we have more than 15 on there. Over the time, we also had some, and then also stopped it again. So changes are also kind of flexible and don't really matter to the core and the heart of it. And on the other side, yes, obviously we still have a lot of print publications, and that's also at the heart of the company. So we could actually also use the same content and everything for the print publishing. And as you all know, pre-COVID times, we were working heavily on specials, on special publications, reuse content, and so on. So we were really fast on setting these things up, either online or offline. And also all the workflows which we integrated needed to be very flexible in the interfaces, because you see on the left side we have 3 main web CMS environments. We have a video player. I'm not talking about YouTube and all the other stuff we also have. So these workflows, how to publish and how to interface, needed to be very flexible. When we actually look, and this looks very technical, but it is, at the end of the day, it's not. What is really important to understand in our environment is we have core applications, yeah, and we do have a definition of support applications, yeah. So we really very often and at the beginning forced to talk about how do we use different modules. And yes, we have interfaces, and yes, we have different software which is specialized to do certain things. So how do we combine this? You know? And we had to learn, because we were not only talking about what is really good. We also maybe talk about what was big learning and what was not so good at the beginning. We didn't actually have these pictures in place. We didn't really think about an enterprise architecture. We didn't really think about how these components should interact, because we just built one by one and said, okay, this is good for this use case, this is good for the other use case. So what we learned is we had to get this architecture management set up. Also, we try to avoid a vendor lock-in with this not monolithic structure, with this modular structure, because this also at the beginning was clear that if you only have one vendor, you're stuck with that. And also the possibility of different development speeds, because at the core we need reliance, we need the content workflows to really work 100%. And on the delivery side, on the CMS side, on the delivery side, you need to be fast, try things out, work with the UI, and see how the users are reacting. So this in giving us the speed.
Just a short question, Marcus, regarding this kind of structure you're showing. Would you think that this might help other publishers as well? And maybe, I mean, this is a yes or no question, maybe in which way? So which aspect of your learning, what you just described, might be important for other publishers to take into account?
Mm-hmm. So I would say that the core question you have to ask yourself is, what's the benefit of having just one single instance, one single monolithic environment? Yeah? So as soon as you have a second publication, if you have a second channel, if you have something to add, you really have to think, okay, how can I set this up? It always depends on your resources internally, how to set this up. Sometimes just a single system is better for you if you have only a few people. But on the other side, for us and for everyone who's thinking about it, I think core is that you really think about, okay, what could change in the future? And if you really draw this picture, everything can change, and everything is changing. And therefore I would really see, just take the time and analyze a little bit. Okay, where do you have maybe a vendor login? Where do you have certain processes in place which are not flexible? And then go step by step. And if you don't have the internal resources and know-how, just partner with somebody else from the outside and get the relevant help. And this was also at the beginning, we also had this help because we didn't really have the right mindset to do this. So I would definitely say, yeah, just give it a try, think about it, yeah, and then you'll find, maybe you don't find 50 things, but if you find 3, that also already helps. Yeah. So I really see that should be the point.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Facts on Blick. So there is one newsroom. Out of one newsroom, we are producing the newspapers of Blick and Sonntagsblick, as well as Blick.ch, the online and app, and Blick TV, so which is the new edition since the beginning of the year. And when you look at the numbers, please keep in mind the size of Switzerland. So, and the size of the people we are catering to. So there are 8 million people in Switzerland overall, and we are only publishing in German. So we only address almost 4 million people max. Yeah. So these are the people we address with our publication or with Blick, and therefore just put the numbers in a little bit in perspective to your country, your environment, your setup. So you see that very well above 400,000 readers on the print side, and almost 6 million unique clients, or almost 3 million unique users per month, 90 million, almost 90 million visits. So it is for our environment, it's a heavy traffic site. It's well positioned on the market, but everyone expects, also from the brand, everyone expects speed and to be the first to have breaking news and stuff. And that was also the idea for the Blick TV to just also have this addition on the videos. And especially with Blick, the push came to discuss the Headless CMS topic. Because when we started, we came from, as I said, this monolithic and layered environment, and we wanted to have these microservices, as well as we came from traditional hosting and servers, and went to AWS to had a cloud migration. And there were a lot of goals in there, but the key points here was obviously the failover decision, because you have to be up and running 24/7, and you cannot just have half an hour or so not delivering the latest news. Then, and this is for us as IT technology as well as product people, the ease of deployment, because with microservices, we didn't have to test the whole environment. We didn't have to deploy the whole environment. We could just deploy this service and know that this would work, yeah, and that really helped. Scalability, obviously, with a lot of stuff going on, breaking news going on, press conferences, so you can easily scale up, but also scale down. And obviously, regarding to a monolithic approach and traditional hosting, cost efficiency was also a big point on this. Alex, I think you wanted to add a couple.
Yeah, just wanted to edit some aspects, because I think this is really an important piece, this decoupling, and because we were involved in this Blick project, the Blick.ch project, I can say that our team liked it very much to really find a good way of bringing the front end online. We used React to do so, and totally decoupling it from the backend in a way so that you could really change whatever you want. And you described it, I think, very perfectly, that many systems, many services are involved, and that you don't want to get stuck using one system, one service, one supplier, but you constantly want to experiment, you want to change. And I think to have really the graphical representation in a way decoupled from all the editorial stuff or the backend systems you use just brought a lot of speed into this project. And also it was quite nice when I talked to colleagues working on this project. They were all pretty happy because it was also from a developer's perspective. And if you want to have either your own developers as a publisher or you want to work with partners, it's always good to use a technology, I would say, where developers are really on fire and they want to build it. And if you compare this to, you know, the old world where they all sit there and say, oh, I have to do an update here or an update there. So they simply don't like it. And for the readers, it's interesting as well because, yeah, obviously, especially for a title like Blick, they like it if there is something happening, something new is on, they want to be entertained. And also this integration of Blick TV, maybe we can talk about this a little bit later, also was, I think, easier because of the structure of the whole site as it is, compared to you know, the old world where it would have maybe taken months and months to integrate it. So yeah, this was just my little insight here, giving yeah, an idea on how work was done and what benefits are beside all the technological benefits you could clearly see.
Yeah, and we actually learned a lot over time. So what I showed you earlier is that we now have this ecosystem of publications, and yes, obviously some are just only focusing on speed, but others are focusing on vast amount of different content deliveries, but on the other side you might have stock financial information which needs to be fastly integrated, and so you can really focus on what are the needs of the editorial teams, what are the needs of the publications, so to really speed this whole process up, and you're not logged into multiple or just only one vendor. Honestly, yes, it all sounds easy and great. So at the end of the day, it is not, and I'll come to that in a moment. But just what comes to my mind is that sometimes it's easier. You work with 2 or 3 partners, yeah, and each partner is doing the best of breed, the best development, instead of just having only one, yeah, but then just getting just something in the middle, and that's what it is. A hard way sometimes. It takes a while to get there, but at the end of the day, it really pays off. So so that's something which I really see. When we look at what I just said, is that you have to work together, especially when we for example look at our example here now at the Blick. You see that we mainly work with 3 teams. It is not that it is only one team which is reporting in the reporting line to either me or a colleague or somebody else. So it is really a common goal which we defined, and we put the experts together. And what really helped, and that's maybe also learning over time, is that we in the company are used to work in matrix and network organizations. So it really doesn't matter where in this org chart you are. If you're the expert on something, just get this done. Yeah, and that really helps. So as you see, what we have in the middle is these DCX. This is what I actually said at the beginning, and it has interfaces. But meanwhile, yeah, we have different teams catering to the website, or now Blick TV. We do have a third team who's also doing our recommendation, single sign-on stuff, the analytics, yeah. And obviously then we have the external partners for delivery, an ad server. So this all, you have to set it up, but this only works if you understand, if everyone understands the goal, and what this system and the team environment is responsible for. So the backend systems need to offer fast and reliable workflows. Yeah? The front development, since it's decoupled, is really focusing on user experience, on the scalability, flexibility. So we really have to define what's the main goal and what's the purpose of this environment. That really worked well in our environment, even across organizational barriers, I would say, yeah, because these are different teams and different organizational units, but that really worked well. What did we learn over time? You have to have an open mindset. So cultural change is a point in this whole thing as well, yeah, because you have to have an open mindset. You have to also give developers a good environment to say, okay, I like it, as Alexander said, I like to work in this, I like to try things out, and yeah, I see fast results. On the other side, the organization needs to give you the freedom. That's what we need to think about. And yeah, it was not there at the beginning, but over time, it really developed. We discussed this decoupling of backend and front end, and I think this was a key differentiator in our development over time, because we could really focus on the relevant tasks on each side, and each layer is more or less a standalone module with a dedicated functionality. Because we wanted to scale up or even scale out, as we did to AWS, as we needed. And so you have to invest time, resources to set the structure up and to set this concept up of microservices and modules. And it is an upfront investment, definitely, but it pays off over time. This is what we learned in the last years, over the last years, I would say. So new sites and services we can easily integrate, and what is also very important is the interference to existing sites or services is quite low, because we have these modules in place, and we could just focus on changing one little thing and then go to the next one. This really working well. And obviously, especially at the beginning, we needed the right partners to just guide us, to help us. And over time, this partnership has grown more on specific issues where you don't have your specialist in-house, and you shouldn't have, because it is there are people who really do special things and help you along the way. And when I really think about, okay, what did we achieve? What did we really achieve? We decoupled. Yes, we shifted from a monolithic structure to modules. We achieved the decentralization. Yeah, we now work multi-layered and specialized teams. This really works. We achieved the scalability we wanted. Yeah, because on-site, hosted, monolithic didn't really give you the opportunity to scale, and definitely the flexibility. And overall, we can say we have the implementation of new sites is 50% faster overall, because we now only focus on the relevant topics. So that was it. I would like to go to the Q&A session and go back and stop sharing and be glad to take questions.
Hi, thank you very much, Marcus. First question, how do you see the technological future of content creation and publishing?
I would say that we always have to think about two ways. One is print, one is digital. Yeah, but at the core is content creation, and in content creation you will have even more people bringing content to you. Yeah, you have even more usage of social, of user content, of external content you have to incorporate. So you have to screen more easily, do your fact checking better, and this is a new challenge, I would say. And on the technology side, we need to provide tools who help the editorial team to really work with this and do this, yeah. And publishing on the other side, because of the speed, needs to be even more automatic in certain ways, yeah. So creation is the creative task, which needs time and you have to focus on, but distributing it on X environments, yeah, should be a technology task.
We talked about this yesterday afternoon, actually, in the session with Johnny Cowdell from PugPig, and we went through some research. And I guess the question is, do you create digitally first, or do you create for print first? Because there was a whole thing in the surveys with news and consumer media in the session yesterday, where it's created print, and then it's created for mobile, which sort of is the wrong way around, really, right? Because the mobile is the more immediate medium. So how do you think about that?
We decided to create content first.
Yeah, okay.
So it doesn't matter. Yes, obviously, you first of all, you see, okay, what's the story? And you should focus to bring the story if it's breaking news online. So
yeah,
you create this, and you only have a headline. You only have maybe, I don't know if you have a picture or something, a screenshot of something, you publish it right away digitally. Yeah, and then you add, yeah, and then you use it for all channels. You use it digitally, use it for print. But we also have vice versa. We have content pieces which are there's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of time involved to create this content piece. Yeah. And maybe you decide, okay, now we put it online. Yeah, but we put the longer form of it, we put it on print, or we put the longer form on digital. So we have the flexibility. We discussed this for a long time, but we came to the conclusion it doesn't really matter. Yeah, we have to create the content and decide where do we publish it because of the content type. If it's breaking, definitely digital.
That's interesting. And so how have you seen the results of Blick TV in the first few months? What's your feedback on numbers?
Yeah, we're quite happy, but on one side with the numbers, on the second side, the launch was right before this whole COVID stuff.
Don't mention COVID. Don't mention COVID. We're all right.
So we really didn't have the chance to just play the whole playbook on stuff we were doing. We just immediately had to change in this breaking news environment, yeah, which was bringing us up to the peak was 1.2 million viewers, and we are around about 100,000 a day, so which is very well, and we were satisfied with that.
Good. And I'd just be interested to know what your paywall strategy is, because I know obviously in the Dash region is paywalls going up left, right, and centre as they are in the UK, and I guess the gateway in the paywall world has changed a lot through the C word of COVID. So what's your strategy around paywalls?
So obviously, you always have to think about what kind of application you have, and what's the user base you have to have a paywall or not. So we do have certain publications where we do have paywalls. We also have other publications which are fully monetized by ads. So we do have in our environment, we have two ways, and obviously you have to look at every title and say, okay, if it's what kind of publication is it to put it behind the paywall. But we are constantly evaluating this, obviously, and looking also in the environment in the Dauck region and also worldwide, what is working, what's not working. So it's a title by title decision.
Yeah, sure. And I wanted to just touch on the buy or build conversation. So, and what it's, how you've decided to work with external partners, and, Alex is obviously the external partner on the call, but, that buy or build mentality. So how did you come to that decision, and what is your strategy at Ringier generally on that subject?
No, so what basically, it all starts with resources. If you have unlimited resources, you want to do everything on your own. But then you realize, okay, with the limited resources you have to focus. And then we try to focus our innovative and creative people on these tasks which give a benefit and are differentiating us from others. So we early on went and say, okay, what partners can we use which are helping us to create a profound backend and an environment where we can really focus on innovative stuff, on bringing new features, on doing this. And so this went step by step, and obviously people have more fun doing new and innovative stuff than doing just configuring system A or B. So this it was also a cultural change over time, and therefore we really went evolutionary, I would say, from one partner and one company who delivered a good solution, and say, okay, from there on we can build and go to the next one and the next one. And then we came to the point, okay, there are so many teams. Okay, this team is responsible for that. Okay, let them be responsible for that. Just interact accordingly and discuss things to bring this forward. So, and also the external input helps a lot, because we are looking at Ringier, and as every other company as well, we think we have the best, the brightest ideas, but sometimes out in the world there's something else, and this is what an external partner brings in to really think about stuff in a new way.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think people sit on different, very clear sides of the fence with that, but I agree with you. So was it difficult bringing the next question really, was it difficult bringing your team along with your sort of vision of where you were going, or?
It's obvious at the beginning, you really have to explain a lot, because you are sticking to what you know, and this is my topic, and but this went well. It took some effort and a lot of open communication and just goal-focused communication. So what do we want to achieve? We want to be the best in A, or you want to be the fastest in B. And so then you bring the teams along, and they are working then for a common goal. And it really doesn't matter if somebody from another team has a good idea for your environment. Then take it and use it. So but it was not there from the beginning. It was over time and over the years. It was quite an effort to do this, but it's worthwhile.
Yeah, good. Just to Alex, I'm just interested, what were the biggest challenges for you with this project?
The biggest challenge, I would say, in the beginning was clearly the timing, because we had a really tight deadline to bring the new site of Blick online. And this was, I would say, besides the Swiss accent, which is sometimes also challenging for colleagues, this was clearly one of the biggest challenges. Also, like Marcus mentioned, I mean, there were quite a number of content items we had to migrate from the old to the new site. And I mean, the benchmark was also not to be underestimated, because it was pretty clear from the beginning that we should just build the fastest news site in Switzerland. And and this leads to kind of lot of decisions that needs to be made and a lot of things to consider. Can we build it like this or like this or like this? And yeah, this was quite challenging, but I would say this is, I mean, where the fun comes, right? I mean, if it's uninspiring, not so many pieces, loose deadlines.
You're obviously looking at lots of different solutions. So how do you see the future of software within this sort of world when you're looking at different choices of things that you can use and different routes to go?
What we learned, especially in the last months, I would say maybe this changed a lot or a little since COVID is around, I don't know. But to really consider the needs of the editorial team on the one side, but also check what's wanted. What does the reader wants or the visitor of your app or site or whatever. So I wouldn't say that this is mainly a technological game that you can win. And I think I like the what Marcus also said about that, the teams needs to be aligned, etc. So the technology is of course one question, but if no one uses it in the editorial team, or if what's built is just built because you can build it and the reader is not willing to pay or willing to continue his journey, then this really doesn't matter. And so for our teams, and this is what I really emphasize a lot internally, is that we should not look too deep into technological issues in the very beginning, but really focus on the bigger topics. And then if we exactly know what's needed, what could be used, what's working well, then try to find the best solution. And I think for us, it's good to not, also have no vendor lock-in if you want. So some agencies are, partnering with one supplier, for example, and we are really open. So we can compare systems and then find the best solution. And this is not always system A or B, but it depends.
A combination.
Yeah,
guys, I'm just very conscious of time because we've run over very slightly, but it's a fascinating subject. So I've just got a couple of questions left. I'd like to know, you've talked a lot about speed and speed of development and stuff, and I'd just like to ask both of you, has the whole COVID crisis, has that helped? Or has it slowed you down? Has it speeded you up? What effect has it had on the whole project?
I would say it, because we were lucky and already were in a setup where you could work from everywhere, more or less, yeah. And with all the new situation, we really even more speed up to do things, yeah, because we had to react to and all news platforms spiked worldwide on this issue. So
yeah, sure.
I would say yes, we were more focused on certain things. It helped. And now we see over time, okay, as everyone else, yeah, we need to maybe get back a little bit of a social touch on this. So meet in person sometimes is also helping, but overall for us, luckily it was no issue.
Alex?
I would just add maybe as one aspect that, yeah, we had the chance to start this project in person, guys from us were constantly visiting Ringier and Marcus and his team in Zurich. And so this clearly helped. So everyone knew who he's working with, and this was quite easy. And for us, I would say the common working mode. And besides, it saves some CO2 as well.
Well, interestingly on from that, have you embarked on any other projects under lockdown where you've not been able to meet face-to-face with the teams?
Yeah, we actually started one pretty complex project where there was only one physical meeting in the beginning as kind of, okay, get to know. And then, bam, everyone was back at his home. And then the project rolled off. And so you could clearly see that this learning curve where you would, you know, get to use to all the other habits and other people, this took a little bit longer than if you would meet from time to time in person. But I think, yeah, now it feels quite normal to not meet them. So this is interesting.
Well, we've never met, right? And we've arranged all of this without meeting, and so it's a strange world. Guys, look, we could talk for ages. It's such a fascinating project, and it's really interesting. And there's so many other things to you know, drill into and investigate. But I'm afraid we are out of time. But I'd like to thank you so much for coming on this morning and sharing your knowledge and experience. It's such a fascinating project, and I'm sure people can take a lot from it. But I'm afraid we're out of time. And thank you ever so much for being part of this.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.